We all have been somewhat obsessed with Samsung, the mobile giant and the world's leading electronics brand. Aside from being the biggest chipmaker in the world, Samsung has a manufacturing empire that has revolutionized the world of technology. But Samsung hasn't always been a technology firm. In fact, you might be surprised to learn that Samsung's first products were fish and noodles. So how did a noodle and fish seller transform his business into a tech manufacturing empire? We would talk about that in today's video and show you how the corporation has expanded into innumerable other areas with its ingenuity throughout the years since its inception. So, watch the video until the end, and if you are new to the channel, subscribe and hit the bell icon. Well, it all started in 1938 when Lee Byung-chul established Samsung as a trading firm in the city of Taegu with an initial capital investment of only 30,000 won, which is approximately $27. The first Samsung location was a grocery store that employed 40 people and dealt in the buying and selling of local and regionally manufactured items. It sold dried seafood and veggies from Korea, in addition to its own brand of noodles. In 1947, the business flourished and expanded to include operations in Seoul. However, they departed the city the following year when the Korean War started. After the war, Lee established a sugar refinery in Busan, and then later expanded into the textile industry, eventually constructing what was then the largest woolen mill in Korea. This early diversification turned out to be a successful development strategy for Samsung, which led to the quick expansion of the company into the retail, insurance, and securities industries. Following the war, Samsung placed a primary emphasis on the nation's reconstruction, particularly its industry. 3 stars were Samsung's original logo. The cultural significance of the TriStar is supposed to stem from its composition, which consists of the Korean terms Sam, 3, and Sang, stars, which together mean large, many, and powerful. The present logo has been in use since 1993. In the 1960s, Samsung entered the electronics business by establishing numerous divisions specializing in electronics. These electronics-oriented divisions were Samsung Electronics Devices, Samsung Electromechanics, Samsung Corning, and Samsung Semiconductor and Telecommunications. Throughout that time, Samsung completed the purchase of Dongbang Life Insurance and founded Jungong Development, which is today known as Samsung Everland. In addition, cooperation between Samsung and Sanyo was formed, which paved the way for the manufacturing of various consumer goods such as televisions, microwaves, and more. The year 1970 saw the beginning of Samsung's production of black and white televisions as well as the company's expansion into shipbuilding, petrochemicals, and aviation engine manufacturing. In the next decade, Samsung expanded its product line to include the production of transistor televisions in black and white and color, as well as refrigerators, electric desk calculators, and air conditioners. Samsung Electronics America and the Suwon Research and Development Center were both founded by the corporation in the late 1970s. By 1974, Samsung Heavy Industries had become one of the world's largest shipbuilders. 1978 marked the year when the corporation achieved the significant production milestone of having manufactured 5 million televisions. By 1980, Samsung had acquired Hanguk Gyeongjatonsin, marking its entry into the telecom hardware market. In the beginning, Samsung was in the business of constructing telephone switchboards. Later, the company branched out into the manufacture of telephone and fax systems, and subsequently, mobile phones. At the beginning of the 1980s, Samsung expanded its operations to New York, Germany, and Portugal. The year 1982 marked the beginning of Samsung Printing Solutions. The printing sector benefited from the digital solutions that were provided by this company's subsidiary. The next year, the business began manufacturing personal computers, and the following year, sales at Samsung hit 1 trillion won. In the latter half of the decade, Samsung expanded its operations to Tokyo and the United Kingdom, establishing itself as a market leader in semiconductor production with massive 256K drum production. In 1987, Samsung's founder, Lee Byung-chul, passed away, and the company was eventually taken over by his son, Lee Kwon-hee. Shortly after that, Samsung Semiconductor and Telecommunications joined with Samsung Electronics to become Samsung Electronics. The newly formed company concentrated on the manufacture of semiconductors, telecommunications equipment, and household goods. The subsequent 10 years brought out significant development and accomplishments. Soon after, Samsung established Samsung Motors, began manufacturing digital TVs. Additionally, the corporation started making significant investments in the development and production of components for the use of other businesses. Its goal was to become the most successful maker of consumer electronics in the world. In 1999, Samsung Ventures was established with the purpose of making investments in fledgling businesses whose primary services were similar to those offered by Samsung. The SPH 1300 was an early touchscreen prototype that was introduced by Samsung in 2001, marking the company's introduction to the market for mobile phones. In addition, the business was responsible for developing the very first speech recognition phone in 2005. At the end of the 2000s and the beginning of the 2010s, Samsung made a number of acquisitions of firms that created technology for electronic devices. In 2011, Samsung debuted the Galaxy S2, and then the following year, in 2012, the company produced the Galaxy S3, which was one of the most popular smartphones in the world at the time. The year 2012 was particularly significant for Samsung since it was the year that it became the top mobile phone manufacturer in the world and the year that it acquired M-Spot to provide entertainment to users of Samsung devices. In the next few years, the company made additional acquisitions, including companies that would help it expand its offerings in medical technology, smart TVs, OLED displays, home automation, printing solutions, cloud solutions, payment solutions, and artificial intelligence. These are some of the areas in which the company currently operates. In September of 2014, Samsung made public their plans to market a virtual reality headset known as the Gear VR, which was designed to work in conjunction with the Galaxy Note 4. By the end of 2015, Samsung had been granted more than 7,500 utility patents, making it the firm that held the record for the most patents successfully submitted and authorized in the United States. In 2017, Samsung was granted authorization by the government to conduct tests on an autonomous vehicle. Now in December 2022, Samsung has a market cap of $305.87 billion. This makes Samsung the world's 25th most valuable company by market cap. Which Samsung product is your favorite? Tell us your views in the comments section. Thank you very much for taking the time to watch this video. See you in the next one.